So the topic today is, are ghosts real?
Ooh, we'll find out who the believers are. So, are ghosts real? Okay. So clearly you've never had like any paranormal experiences yourself.
Well, I mean, if I were to believe in them, then I would say then yeah, maybe it could have been paranormal. But the more sort of non-believer has sort of been saying, nah, there's a scientific explanation for that.
So you're telling me you've never been in a particular situation when you think it's more than a draft, or you think that that sound is something other than the pipes rattling in your house?
No, I'd say no. If there was a spooky ghost that sort of went up to me one day and said, yo, what up? I exist, then I'd say, right, okay, ghosts exist.
No ghost is coming up to you and saying, yo, what up?
Innit? Right. What do you think happens probably like when you pass? Like, do you think that do you like believe in like a heaven or a hell, or do you believe that there's kind of a nothing? Like, what is your opinion?
When we die, our consciousness goes, so there's no more signals going around in your head telling you to move, to do anything. And I believe that you will just be in a state of nothing. You do get some experiments, however, that sort of put people in near-death experiences where they believe the spirits leave the bodies and, you know...
They see the light.
Yeah. And so what some people have done is they've put like some very specific items on a high shelf in a room. And when that person dies, they believe their spirit goes up and they will be able to see what items, and then they get brought back and they tell them what items they are. And there was also the experiment where they measured a body before and after death. But scientists have actually proven that it is not the spirit leaving the body when the weight changes. Because when you die, you shit yourself. Yeah, you shit yourself. When we die, I just believe it's nothing. I believe it's just, you don't even, it's kind of like before you're born, how you can't remember anything. It's because you didn't exist.
What is like the earliest memory that you can remember growing up?
The earliest memory I have, it was literally me just in a cot looking up at my ceiling.
How old?
About 3 or 4, maybe.
See, that was probably the same for me. The earliest age was probably at like 3 years old, playing in my garden. It's just like my eyes just opened.
Monique, and then I'll ask it to Dan. What do you believe happens when we die?
I think it's one of those things that I'm kind of still exploring. I don't necessarily believe in a heaven or a hell, but I do feel like there's some kind of astral realm where we may possibly pass over, but not all souls would pass over to that. I think it's very dependent on like the caliber of your personality and your mental capacity.
It'll be very crowded if everybody went there.
Exactly. I think there's like lower dimensional people that would definitely go to what may be perceived as like a hell
or limbo.
I don't really become indoctrinated by religion. I'm not fond of like religion isn't for me, but I respect other people's religions. If that makes sense. But yeah, that's my kind of opinion. I'm kind of just looking into it really.
So what's your belief, Dan?
I'm actually Hindu, so I believe that when...
Reincarnation, yeah?
It's a bit of a tough one. So I believe that when you die, I don't think ghosts are this stereotypical ghost with like a white ghost just floating around in the air. I don't believe that. I believe that obviously humans have energy inside them, and I feel that when you pass, sometimes that energy goes into the earth. If you pass peacefully of old age or whatever, and then whatever is left of your energy could go into like trees and whatnot. But I believe that if the death is kind of traumatic, unexpected, I believe that sometimes that energy stays present in that. Yeah, because it can't fully pass over.
So do you believe that it's like this forever?
They kind of tend to use it a lot in horror movies. There'll be a haunting somewhere, and later on in the movie they find out that there's actual skeletons of that body buried, unmarked.
Okay, yeah,
and they discover these skeletons and give it a proper burial.
Like in The Woman in Black.
Yeah, and in all these films, the ghost is able to pass on, or the haunting stop because it's had a proper burial. I look at it as from a human point of view. Say if you were murdered away from your family and you're buried in some unmarked grave, you're going to haunt that fucking place till someone find your skeleton so that you could pass over. It's hard to believe that it's just completely blank, like you're nothing.
I understand that, yeah. The same can be said for Before You're Born, because obviously, a bit graphic, but, you know, before you're born, you're just a sperm swimming around in your parents, in your dad's junk. But what happens before that's created, you
Jamie,
just...
look at me right now, bro. Look at me.
Yeah.
Did you see your dad's junk?
Yeah, I did, yeah. You got a problem with that? Would you rather me say jellies?
I never want to hear you talk about sperm again.
You understand what I mean, though?
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, so it's hard to imagine what happened then, but it happened, didn't it?
The one thing that does kind of leave me in the middle of believing whether ghosts are real or whether they're not is that the amount of deaths that there actually is in the world each day, we should be surrounded by ghosts. We should see them all over social media. Everyone has a phone on them. Everyone's taking selfies every single day. And you imagine that all these photos on Instagram, Facebook will have, there'd be solid evidence out there with...
Not to mention the ones that have died in history, because obviously there were more people in history than there is a population on the planet. So, yeah, I see what you mean.
Monique, have you ever had any paranormal experiences yourself?
Yeah, you know what? When you was like, what's your earliest memory? My earliest memory was actually being in this room in the corner, just over there, and then.
I think I've heard this story.
Yeah, seeing literally, it was just the bright kind of blue jeans, kind of like Levi's, but just jeans walking across the room and out of the window, and that was it.
Gee, you know, I have never seen a ghost myself. When I was young and I was staying at my grandparents' house, say if I needed to go to the toilet or something, no other lie, I would literally sprint upstairs because I think that something's coming to get me. And as soon as I close the door, I'd go for a shit. I'd wash my hands, obviously. I'd close the door and sprint back downstairs just because I'd feel like something's watching me and something's going to get me. And no other lie, I sometimes even do it now.
Yeah, I feel like I sort of did the same thing just in my normal house. For example, whenever I turned off a light and I needed to go into another room that was lit, and you're just in that dark room for a few seconds, you do feel like, oh, something's going to get me. And it's like, I remember particularly like when I was in the shower or the bath or something, and if I would get shampoo in my eyes, I would always feel like something was like watching me or coming closer. And that's quite a common thing for people to say. I feel like when you're younger, you are more susceptible to the things that you don't know.
Talk me through that bit again. So you be in the shower washing.
Washing my baby junk. Do you know what I mean? Or like if there's shampoo on the outside of your eyes and it doesn't hurt, but you know that if you open it, then you know it would hurt. So you just sort of do that, you know.
Yeah. What was in the back of your mind telling me like if I don't get this fucking shampoo out of my eyes, then
I didn't know. That was the thing. Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It was literally, I was just afraid of what I didn't know.
You felt vulnerable. You know, the internet's a massive thing. Like, you could look up countless suspected ghost images and everything. But it's always down to your sort of opinion on whether it's real or fake. You know, you could see 10 photos and you could say all 10 of them are fake, but there could be 3 legit ones there. It's all down to your sort of point of view.
What I'm saying is that I'm completely open to being wrong, as I'm pretty sure I've said before. What I believe is that we can truly never know. We can never know everything. There's always room for doubt. I could be completely wrong about my views. Ghosts could exist. There could be an afterlife. But I am choosing to believe what's the most rational in my mind. And obviously for you and Monique, it's different. So you're kind of on the other way.
I guess with me and Monique, we've been to like so many rumoured to be haunted places, and we haven't necessarily seen anything. And it's always down to what you feel in that moment. Yeah. Because so at the end of the day, like say if ghosts were real, you happen to like die, touch wood, and someone turned up to your old house or somewhere where your spirit is left and started calling out to you and telling you to show yourself, you wouldn't just be like, if you did show yourself, then you'd be getting vans and vans and vans of people turning up. And what I'm trying to get at here is that I think that there's more than what meets the eye. Like, I think you've got to go to these places.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not like shutting myself off. I'm not saying, oh no, this is completely false and I will never ever try this, because
bro, I'm just telling you, when we go on a ghost hunt, bro, like, we're gonna take you.
Something to look forward to on the channel, by the way.
When we take you to these places, after the third place we go, I can genuinely say that you will have your belief nudged a little bit.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that. Yeah.
It's always good to be skeptical and challenge, though. I think.
Yeah, it is.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And to be fair, it keeps me fucking sane, because if I tend to go off other people freaking out as well. Like, if I'm somewhere,
I scream.
When Monique screams, bro, and I happen to be there, I lose myself. Like, I've honestly, Loxley Chapel, and I was in the basement.
Oh my god, that was really odd.
Bro.
That was proper weird.
So what happened was we filmed at this chapel, and it was where the Great Floods of Sheffield happened. Like, a lot of the victims were buried at this chapel.
They died inside the chapel as well, didn't they? Like, downstairs in the basement or something, hiding. Do you know when they had the flood, a lot of them were hiding in the chapel at the time. And then they were in there whilst it was flooding.
Shit.
They died inside that basement.
Oh, that's sad.
So what happened was, we went to this chapel. It was eerie from the get-go. Like, was hearing all sorts of noises, probably a few foxes, but I remember Bailey saying that he thought he could see someone walking up towards us. We didn't think it was a ghost. We genuinely thought it was going to get reported because it was near some houses, but we never saw that person. Bailey was convinced, bro, like, and it freaked us out a little bit, because Bailey won't make something up. I could tell when he's shitting himself, like, proper. It was like torch, wasn't it, Mon? Like, the chapel, we thought that there'd be a lot more to film than what was actually there. But what we did find, we found a basement. So at the end of every video, what we do is we do rock, paper, scissors. Loser needs to do a forfeit. And obviously I lost, so the forfeit meant that I had to go in that basement. I think we agreed for me to go down there for about 5 minutes max. And I was down in that basement. I was just like, is there anybody there? If there's anyone there, can you please make a noise? As soon as I said that, seconds later, all I heard was Monique say, Dan, get out. And my first reaction was, shit, like, that guy's come back, called his police or something, like, we're in trouble. Monique, you take it from your side, because you lot wasn't actually in the chapel when I went into the basement.
Yeah, we left, so we were outside. Like, it was really weird to, like, get into. It was like there was a metal sheet of something where you could get, like, yourselves in, but we'd, like, gone out of the window so you could do what you was doing. And then at that point, it was just like that knocking. What it sounded like was like a knocking or someone saying something. That's when I was like, you need to get out, because none of us said anything because we were kind of scared ourselves, and we were just kind of talking amongst ourselves.
Bro, my butt must have, like, clenched so much as soon as I heard Monique say, get out.
It wasn't even like a scream of being like, get out. It was like,
it was a get out now. Carrot is exactly like you, bro. Carrot is so skeptical. He doesn't believe shit, really, unless he fully sees it or experiences it himself. His face was so pale, bro, and he was like, no, we thought it'd be funny to leave you in there on your own, so that when you came out, like, you shit yourself and everything, because you wouldn't see us around anywhere. But they said they heard, like, a bang, and their first instinct was to tell me to get out. And then,
the fact that he said it as well, like, he was so skeptical, was like, I was like, yeah, this is serious.
You can actually stay there overnight. You know, like, poltergeists and stuff. I can't remember what street. It's called something street. You can literally stay there overnight, bro. And I've seen videos, you can look at it online, literally knives flying across the room. I don't even think anyone lives there, but it's owned by someone. And they just use it as a house for ghost hunters to go to and people to stay over for the night. That's if you even fucking stay there. It's like meant to be the most haunted place in the UK. I'm going to find it right now.
Are we gonna go there?
We could go, but I don't know if I'd stay.
I don't think I would stay in the night, but I'd be up for going inside. You should make one person stay.
One person? Oh my god.
Can you imagine? Oh, do you know what? I might have actually seen this this particular house because I've seen the events on Facebook that you can get.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive.
No, that's not the right one. You've watched The Conjuring 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen most of it. I think the Conjuring movies were loosely based on real events. I mean, I know Annabelle was rumoured to be, because there is a real doll kept behind a safe. There was strict rules, like, I think I might have actually spoke to Dan about this before. Don't touch this doll. And I think a couple did.
Photo of it.
Yeah, people like either spoke to it or touched it, and then they were in a car accident shortly after.
So Lorraine, when she was alive, these people actually go to film museum of haunted artifacts or something, and this Annabelle doll, because it's not the same Annabelle from the actual Annabelle movie, it's like
it's like a completely woolen one.
Yeah, you could tell by the fear in her eyes, bro. She was petrified to be in that room. She just wouldn't look at it. She even said I just don't want to look at it and everything. She said, you can film it all you like, but I don't want to look at it. This guy and his girlfriend, when her boyfriend was being all like stupid, knocking the glass and everything, like just mocking it, a couple hours later after they left, Lorraine actually got a phone call to say like that person, the guy died, but I think the woman survived. He had like a motorbike crash. The woman that was riding the bike with him can remember hearing was like a little girl laughing. And
that is quite messed up.
You know, like they'd have a priest come in, and so he used this he cleansed the room every other week or something like that. It's so weird.
Let's say if you were trapped in that room. But I mean, if you was in that position there, if you was in the actual museum where that doll is, and literally the door was locked, and it was you, and all the other artifacts were there, what would you do? Would you like try and stay away from it?
And the door was locked.
And the door was locked. You were stuck in there for, let's say a day.
A whole day.
Yeah. Would you just like try and stay away from it, or would you actually try and talk?
I would not fucking do anything. I would not do anything. The worst thing is, I wouldn't even like say shit like that in my own house. I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't even think about it.
Knocking.
I couldn't. I live here alone. My mind's already like weird enough as it is. Like I'm super paranoid. Probably the reason why I don't touch drugs either, because if I did, I'd probably just melt.
Yeah,
what if? All right, same scenario.
I'd have a panic attack.
Imagine it's the same scenario, right? And you're trapped in the room. What if she started talking to you? What if she started let's say she got up somehow, even though it's like wool, and she wouldn't actually be able to stand up scientifically, but like it's cotton, mate.
What the hell?
And she started going up to you, and she whispered in your ear, and she was like, "Talk to me." What would you do?
It's not like the doll would come to life. It's whatever's inside that doll. Yeah. From what the story about that is, the demon has manifested itself into this doll. Therefore, if anybody touches this doll or comes across it, they get terrorized by these spirits. Like if a doll came up to me and whispered in my ear, I'd probably have a stroke.
Well, it says here, but the background of it was, according to the Warrens, a student nurse was given a doll in 1968. They say the doll behaved strangely, and that a psychic medium told the student that the doll was inhabited by a spirit of a deceased girl named Annabelle. The student and her roommate tried to accept and nurture the spirit-possessed doll, but the doll reportedly exhibited malicious and frightening behaviour. It was at the point the Warrens say they were first contacted, moving the doll to their museum after pronouncing it demonically possessed. The doll remains in a glass box at the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut.
We need to go there.
It's full of the shelf, dolls, toys, and books.
You can stay there then.
See, this is what surprises me, because who owns it now? I think their son owns it now. Someone offered to buy the Annabelle doll, and it was like $2 million or something. And her son said it would be extremely irresponsible of me to sell you this. Like, you know, $2 million is $2 million.